What's good, artists? It's Curtis King of CurtisKingBeats.com here with another Artist Marketing 911. Artists, today the subject that I'm getting ready to cover is going to be a bit controversial when it comes to our particular industry, and a lot of you may not agree with it. I don't expect a lot of you to agree with it. I think that everything that I present to you is not supposed to be presented as fact. Some things are opinion. A lot of things are opinion, actually. And these are things that have worked for me, and I'm hoping that can help you along your road. Now, today's subject deals with something that if you ask any independent artist, the majority of independent artists, if you ask them, you say, hey, how would you describe your music? 9 times out of 10, you're going to get them describing all the things that they are not. And usually the target of the things that they are not is something that's on the radio, something that's on the mainstream music, something that's basically detached from what they are. And I understand the tactic. I understand that, it makes you feel empowered to say all the things that you are not, because then it kind of says the things that you are about. However, I think that something that I've learned from all these books that I've read about entrepreneurs, something that they all have in common is accountability. They take responsibility for everything that they say. They take responsibility for everything that has happened to them, whether it's them sleeping in cars, whether it's their business failing, whatever it is. They take full accountability for where they're at, and that leads to their success. Taking ownership of the things that happen to you is one of the most important ingredients when it comes to your success. With that said, you got to stop blaming mainstream rap and mainstream music as the reasons why record sales are going down, or the reasons why you can't get people to come to your shows, or the reasons why anything bad happens in your career. You have to stop blaming them. Has music changed? Hell yes, music has changed. Will music continually change? Obviously it will. You want to make sure that even as a hip-hop head, somebody who loves the golden age, I love the golden age. I love hip-hop. I love when it was Pac and Big. I love when it was Wu-Tang. I love when it was that era. I love it to death. But I don't love it so much that it makes me hate everything else. But I don't love it so much that it makes me hate every other era. I got a flat top. That's obviously something that was late 80s, early 90s. That does not mean that I hate everything that's on the radio now. And without a doubt, I don't. Because there's some things I like, there's some things I don't like. But no matter what goes on there, my career is over here. And I think that you have to realize that some of you guys who are critiquing all this music that's on the radio, you're turning into the old guy in the room. And what do I mean by the old guy? I mean, you're the same guys in the 50s and the 60s that were saying this rock and roll music is the devil's music and it's going to change the way the kids think and everything's going to hell, the world's ending. It's those kind of people that evolve after generation, and as mainstream music happens, it's supposed to alienate the people who are the oldest. It appeals to a younger demographic. Now, are some of the things that they're saying poisonous? Absolutely. But has there not always been poisonous music throughout the time? Has there always not been music that changes the belief systems that people believe in? It always exists. It's always going to be some kind of version that a particular era says, yo, this is poisonous, this is garbage, this is not what real music is about. You have to realize when you're becoming the old guy in the room. And if you don't realize it, you're going to play the blame game, and the blame game comes from a place of weakness. The blame game doesn't come from a place of strength. It may sound like strength to say, yeah, we're not doing the stuff that the people doing on the radio. We're not doing that, man. It may sound and make you feel powerful, but at the end of the day, it's you not taking accountability for what it is that you're angry about. And what it is that you're angry about is you want people to feel the same way that you felt when you first fell in love with hip hop. What's happening is that you feel so deep in love. It's like your first love. You don't want to see your first love out here growing up and kicking it with some folks that are not indicative of her character. You basically don't want to see your first love turning into a hoe. And that's what you feel like was happening with hip hop. You're looking at your first love that was so delicate and so innocent, and she has grown up. She's moving on to other people, and you feel left out. You are treating her like your first love, and it is killing you inside, and that is the reason why you are going in on everybody else. At the end of the day, you can only control one person's career. At the end of the day, I'm not telling you to love all the music that is out there. I am simply saying that you can control one person's career. That is yours. You can only record one verse. That is yours. And it is your music that you got to cultivate. It is your movement that you have to cultivate. It is your audience that you have to supply a certain need for. It's not that people are sleeping on you. I'll tell you what happens. You're not serving enough people. If you feel like you should be selling 1 million copies of an album, well, what are you supplying that 1 million people need? What are you supplying of value that 1 million people say, yo, I need to pay $5 to $10 for the CD, or I need to get his single, or I need to download his song off of SoundCloud? What are you providing that is of that kind of value to that many people? It can't just be because you're so passionate about it, you feel like 1 million other people should. You have to think about these things and who is to really blame in this particular scenario. And it's not mainstream rap. Mainstream rap is going to be what it is. It's a music business. And their business is to sell whatever it is. No matter how controversial, no matter how ugly, no matter how nasty, no matter how sexual, it doesn't matter. They're here to sell music. It does not affect what you are doing. If anything, it gives you an opportunity to be the complete opposite and present your brand of what you feel like music should sound like. Your brand of what you feel like should actually be music that helps people. But using them as your energy and using them as the people that you can blame for the reason why things are not going right, it trickles down not just from mainstream rap, it trickles down to how you treat individuals. If you continually blame everybody else for the reason why things are not moving, you're going to find yourself being bitter. You're going to find yourself being in the same situation a year from now, and you're going to continue to blame people because there's always going to be something to blame. Embrace your audience. Keep an open ear. You don't have to like anything that's out there, but keep an open ear. Find the things that you like. Find how music is changing. I always say if you want to figure out what's going on in any particular era of music, ask what's going on in the drug culture. I know that sounds weird, but if you think about the type of drugs that people were taking at the time, you start to understand, oh, this is why the music sounded the way it sounded. There's a reason why the 70s sounded the way they sounded. There's a reason why the music was so fast in the 80s. There was drugs that coexisted with that in the club scene. So you have to ask what most people are doing, and you'll start to understand why the music sounds like how it sounds. So now we're in this Xanny and Lean era, and music is super slow right now. Does that mean you got to be on Xan and Lean? No, that means you need to understand what's the temperature of the people, the music listening people, the people that you're still looking to be your audience. Because it's the craziest thing to me when I see independent artists who critique all day long on their Facebook. They critique all these mainstream artists, and then they go open up for them the next week. So I don't understand the logic. I don't understand why that makes any sense to you. But all I'm saying is you need to take ownership for what you are doing. Learn to highlight your strengths. Learn to articulate your strengths without having to highlight somebody else's weaknesses. Because that's what it really comes down to. It's not about the major labels and them trying to kill your career off. It's not about the mainstream. It's not about anything that they do. They're going to do what they're going to do because they are a business. You are a business as well, and you have equal opportunity with the internet. There's no more excuses. Present your music, present your story, tell your story in a way where it's not just the music. People got to understand who you are. When they understand who you are, they'll have an interest into your overall brand, and then they'll have an interest into your music because your music becomes the soundtrack behind your story. But you got to tell your story. You got to embrace the different social networks. You got to embrace the Snapchats, embrace the Instagrams, embrace the Facebooks. Find what works for you and embrace it. Listen to the music of what's going on right now. Listen to BPMs. Listen to the type of instruments that are being used. Find what you like and evolve with the times. Evolve with the times not because you're getting old, because you're going to continually get old. Evolve with the times because your business needs you to evolve with the times. Your business needs you to survive the time. Your business needs to thrive within whatever era it's in. And the only way that's going to happen is keeping an ear to what's going on and figuring out why it's going on. Not being somebody that plays the blame game and blames everybody else for the reason why people are not receiving their music. It's not their fault. If the people want to dance, you can either make them dance or go the other way. In conclusion, I always hated when people said hip-hop is dead. Hip-hop is not dead. From every sweltering studio garage in Compton to every hot and humid bedroom studio in Detroit to every beat that is looping right now in Brooklyn in somebody's headphones as they start to fall deeper and deeper in love with this thing that we call hip-hop. Hip-hop is not dead. It's evolving. You have a choice. Evolve with the time or stop bitching. Be the change that you want to see and let the world catch up to you. These are my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts on the subject. Please leave a comment below, like, subscribe, share. This has been another Artist Marketing 911, Curtis King at CurtisKingBeats.com.